I lose energy, I lose money and time raising chickens the way I'm doing it. And that's because big warehouses full of thousands of chickens treated like machines can produce eggs at a much cheaper rate. So the people here are nice, and so the ladies in the stores have, or guys, have my products, my eggs in their store. And there's a few people that will buy them. But yeah, if you pencil it out, I mean, every egg I sell, I'm losing money. But I guess I'm pro-chicken. Does the chicken want to die someday? What do you do with the roosters? It's not a perfect thing. But look, vegetarian, I'm trying to solve meat problems in the world. I'm trying to make our relationship with meat be different. And me just going around telling people don't eat meat or stop eating as much isn't going to do it. I need a set of solutions, and I'm working on those. A set of solutions so that people eat meat in a way that is less damaging to the world, to themselves, produces less suffering. But yeah, it's still murder. If you say meat is murder, yeah. The raising and eating of meat means killing something almost always. You know, and some people would say, well, you could just eat roadkill. I'm not going to eat roadkill usually. I don't know how long it's been there. I mean, if I was to hit a deer ever, which actually I did back in the United States once, but it didn't die, it got away. It's good. I didn't want to deal with it. But if you hit a deer, I mean, whatever, eat it, sure. But let's not look at these special edge cases. We're trying to solve a bigger problem, and that is, how can I, Brian Fay, and Bosque Village, and you, reduce meat eating in the world? And it isn't going to work to tell people not to eat meat. Now, I'm interested in other creative ideas as well. Like, I don't know how vegetarians would feel. It depends on why they're vegetarian. There's lots of different reasons. But how do you feel about lab-cultured meat? This means taking a cell, meat cell, putting it in a bath of nutrients of some kind or something, and that cell reproduces and becomes something like muscle tissue if you treat it right. And there was never an animal. It's an animal product. The cell is an animal, but it would be hard to say that it was suffering. And nothing wants to die, and it's going to die and get eaten someday. But, you know, you scratch your skin and you're killing stuff too. And I don't know. I wonder what Jains would think of that, because I take the Jains very seriously. I like it when people take a really hardcore position and live in an extreme way. And I've never heard that they're trying to threaten other people about it. They're just making their choice. I respect that. And I find it inspiring, and I might, you know, well, I mean, those people impress me a lot more than someone insulting me for what I do. Because I think a lot about what I do. I care, and I care more in action, and I work on making a better world so much that people who just want to yell at me or yell at other people, I'm just going to tune them out. So we got to think on these things. So lab-cultured meat, would Jains eat it? I don't have any idea. I don't know any Jains. I could send an email. Ask around. Not the most important thing. Would a vegetarian eat it? Well, if they don't want to eat meat for health reasons, then that would be irrelevant maybe. If they don't want suffering to occur, then they would have to decide whether they thought meat-cultured or lab-cultured meat had any suffering involved. Now, down here, by the way, there's some cows. Let's go say hi to these cows for a second. This is a bull ring that's actually used for bull riding, which I'm not a huge fan of, because I don't think it's good for the bulls. They tie a rope around its testicles, and I would not like that. And I don't think it's fun for the bull. I think it's, a whole other thing about treatment of animals. I don't think animals make great toys unless the animal's having a good time. Now these cows down here, let's talk about these cows and whether we could consider this ethical meat or not. First, they're a domesticated animal. They do not exist in the wild. But even if they did, would it be bad to kill one? Like kill a buffalo. Kind of like buffaloes, right? Sort of. Now these cows are just hanging out eating the grass in this area, which is really awesome because then nobody has to trim it. And then I don't have to listen to a weed trimmer. Hate the sound of weed trimmers. These guys are great weed trimmers. And if I got goats or miniature cows or burros, one of my main reasons would be so that they could clear out plants where I don't want them. So these cows are doing a great job. There's one over there, 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 and 3 babies. They're not dogs. I don't know whose cows these are. But my point here is, what I'm showing you here, is that these cows have pretty dang good lives. They pretty much stand around and eat. Seems real boring to me. But I wouldn't say they're suffering. Now, if you slaughter them right, then they don't suffer so much either. It's, not the good way to end your life. These guys, what happens is they get put into a pickup truck and they say to themselves, why am I in a pickup truck? This is unusual. And then they get taken down to a building down in town, and it's a new building. It's much better than the old one. Well, it's been there like 8 years or more by now, but and then they kill them. And then that meat goes straight from there right to the butcher shop. You'll see half of a cow or a quarter of a cow hanging off the side of a pickup truck on a rack, and it'll pull up to the butchers, and that meat goes right into the butchers. And I know one guy in town, he's got a good freezer or refrigerator, and so I feel like his meat is pretty good. It's stored well, and it comes from cows. They were pretty darn happy cows. These cows are not used for dairy, so they have a natural reproduction cycle, and I'm not that into dairy. So I guess I don't want cows personally. They seem big and, to be honest, a little boring, and I also can't tell what they're thinking, which bothers me. But I think here, in this place, at that butcher, I think you could pretty darn ethically eat a steak, you know? I'm not saying we should go around eating steaks all the time. Check that butterfly out. Of course, you know, if people eat less meat, then we wouldn't have so many cows grazing. And of course, we could have more forests, and we could grow more plant-based food. We could lower poverty. So again, the eating of meat the way it's done is not good. But at least for this factor, animal suffering, I don't see these guys as suffering that much. And so I'd still be against making too much of a meat-based culture. I will reference a couple other products here real quick. Vegans, many of them, don't even want you to have dogs. Honey is an animal product. Leather, which I can understand a lot of leathers come from, cow systems that people don't support. I have tanned my rabbit hides and made rabbit skin hats. Those are so awesome and cozy. I mean, those are just primal goodness at its best on a cold night. Oh. So what else about meat? So it's an interesting thing about Bosque Village is a lot of people won't come because it says it's a vegetarian diet on the webpage. What I need to do is take that off of there. I'm going to have to be a little sneakier because I am promoting a more plant-based diet. And that's, I think, why vegetarians don't really need to waste a lot of time getting pissed off at me. I'm actually trying to solve the problem in pragmatic ways, a variety of problems. And anybody who's not too much into their trip and think everybody else has to be on their exact trip could possibly understand that. But yeah, if you're going to get all pissy about it, don't bother. Honey from bees. I have bees. They're not actually mine. Jesus has the bees. They're on Bosque land. I'd actually like him to put more of them out there. And I should probably say, hey, I want a jar of honey or something. But, whatever. I like having them there, and I'll just buy honey when I need it. I already bought like 2 5-gallon buckets of it, and that's been lasting me for years and years and years, and it never goes bad. Honey is an amazing food. It's totally useful. It was probably one of the first animal products that we ate as apes, along with stealing eggs. We were probably an egg-stealing, honey-robbing ape. Seems like that's what we are, until we figured some other stuff out. We did kill off all the megafauna. That's my theory. And some other people support that online and believe that's true, that there used to be a lot of big beasts that when various forms of humanoids, because we're not the only human-type ape. Neanderthals, it turns out, were actually probably pretty smart. We interbred with them. You probably have Neanderthal DNA in you. There are also a variety of other human-like hominids of various sorts that we're discovering over time. So we're actually the last remaining of a group of kind of intelligent apes. And now we will probably end up killing ourselves because we're destroying the entire planet. And eating meat too much is part of that. Eating meat is a severe ecological cost. Bees are another matter. They're very interesting. There's a lot of native bees that exist, and the mass farming of the official honeybees that we like the best actually probably damages the wild ones. Certainly the idea of doing monocropping of something and then having a whole bunch of beehives in the back of a semi-truck all stacked up in odd conditions, and then they get sick. Big surprise, they get sick. You know, and there's various sicknesses they can get. They're kind of like sensitive. And of course we're killing them off by using the pesticides we do on those exciting plants that we eat. Because the way we're raising the plants is violent in many ways. It's wrong and it causes suffering. So if you're against suffering, if that's your reason to be a vegetarian, I hope you look at your entire diet, because just not eating meat, that's not good enough. You have to go through, I have a spreadsheet of all the ingredients I use to make meat officially in the Bosque village. And then of course I go to town and get a sandwich, which occasionally even has hot dog in it, which would be one of the my least liked forms of meat. I would like to never eat a hot dog in my life, although good sausages might be good. Leather. I mean, I'm also not real into plastic. So if it's going to be a choice between leather or plastic, I mean, what the hell are my shoes going to be made out of? Now, if products are made really well, we're not talking about the biggest ecological footprint there either. You know, we've got to get reasonable about kind of counting up the various costs and figuring out, okay, well, how can we tweak this system to improve it in this way? How can we lose less energy in whatever form? How can we live in a way that we've thought about and think is actually good? How can we then write about that in civil and nice ways, or make videos, share that with others, so that we can all think together about what the hell is it we're doing? Because there's so many things we're doing wrong that I think it's frustrating. I'm very frustrated by it, and I feel a desire to fix it. But it's got to be, you know, it's got to be done in the details. Choosing a holy war against any one person or thing isn't going to fix it. I mean, obviously we all have things we focus on more or less, but I want to look at this thing holistically, look at all the options we have and how they affect everything. I got a message today from a vegan, probably a nice person, and she just can't imagine how we could kill anything. And she says, nothing wants to die. Well, that's not true. That might not even be true of humanity and civilization. Civilization is suicidal, the way we're doing it. But that doesn't mean we want to die. We're just going to do the things to get us there. And, you know, back to the carnivore example, I guess I just don't care about nurture-nature issues about, like, should we ever eat meat or not? I think we obviously are omnivores. I think it's fine to eat meat. We're just not doing it right. So I'm trying to figure out how we can do it better. What am I forgetting? Once again, I'll just mention scale again and why it's so important. The way that the beef industry and chicken industry, for example, is done is that in some cases meat is shipped very far distances, mixed with other animals. The animals are in dense places where they get more diseases, like mad cow disease. I mean, badly treated animals are suffering, and that suffering does get passed on to humans. And the cost of moving meat far distances is just crazy ridiculous. And that's one of the reasons I'm such in favor of rabbits, is because they're this nice little, nicely sized package of meat that a family could eat off for a couple of days. Plus the furs are a real valuable thing. There's no part of the rabbit that needs to go to waste at all. So I want to make it local. That's tough in the city setting, I know. But cities shouldn't be the way they are anyway. And they probably won't be in the future due to energy reasons and other stuff. Anyway, I hope this is useful for you to get some idea that I'm not a total monster who goes around like enjoying killing things. I actually don't like to do it. And I am trying to solve problems for a wide variety of people. I'm not trying to make a specialized place that has one exact strict diet that everyone there must eat. The standard food will always continue to be vegetarian at Bosque Village. No money that goes to Bosque Village will be spent on meat. And that's a way to have people suck up their own costs and create their own systems for eating meat. Maybe they can have a barbecue. We'll have a barbecue out there somewhere. Fine. Whatever. But we're making decisions as an organization, as a culture, of what we do. But if somebody wants to buy some meat and eat it in Bosque Village, I can say that's fine. They shouldn't mix it in with the existing food system. So even if we had a big food table or something, I don't want people bringing meat dishes and putting it on it. Our official meat system is vegetarian. I can even imagine that someday, if there was food stands, that somebody could have a food stand that, you could go buy a leg of rabbit. In fact, that'd be pretty cool. Leg of rabbits are really nice. It's kind of like a chicken leg. I prefer leg of rabbit a little bit better. And there's other options, but I want those food systems to be separate. And I think those should, what I'd like to do is to include in the Bosque system some base vegetable foods that are just included with your existence in Bosque Village. Everybody has to eat a little bit, right? And so if that's available, then what it provides is an included simple food that we know we approve of, that we've got good prices on, and we can cook with little energy. And then for specialty items, those could be run as little businesses if somebody wants to sell something. So, I don't know. I'm still thinking about all that. In your own life, I'm not sure what you should be doing. If you have ideas, how you can decrease the amount of meat that you eat, how you can not be an asshole, but promote a more plant-based diet, I'm open to hearing them. So feel free to comment. I'm always reading and studying, and the experiments I've done so far have been really educational. The chickens continue to be really interesting, and I continue to work on making that system use less energy to produce a great product. And I guess that's all I got for now about meat. I'll go get my sandwich now.